think truth carries a frequency. I think that when you speak your truth, people can feel that. What's meant for you also gives you energy. So the path lights up for you. You know, think about all the things that you do that you love doing. Don't forget that your truth leads to your calling, and your calling leads to the energy that gets brought up within you so that you can go ahead and make an impact. And then that impact that you make becomes your legacy.
Wow, the turnout all weekend has honestly been so amazing. I came here on Thursday and I didn't even have a seat to sit in, so thank you all so much for being here. I hope you're as entertained as I am at everybody. There's so many great speakers. It's really an honor for me to be here today. It was just 2 short years ago that I came to AmFest for the first time, and was also my first political event that I had ever been to in my life. Who else's first political event? Not just AmFest, but has anyone been to? This was the first one, and I was so blown away. Just the energy and the people, like it's palpable to just be in the room. And so it led me on a journey that I couldn't have expected, of which led me to speaking at AmFest last year, which I think you saw some pictures up here. And the point of that conversation for me was how blown away I was that saying I love this country or loving the American flag, wearing the American flag, meant somehow that I was a MAGA Republican and wasn't just American. And I said that the job is not done until that means I'm American, right? To be able to just say I love this country. It should be that easy. I should have wore a big American flag jacket, I think, with sequins. I think somebody has one on tonight. And the thing is that the message this time is a little bit different. It's not that we want the ability to say I love this country, but the ability to speak it all. So I want to share a story with you. And it's a little bit of a unique story. I did a past life regression. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but it occurred to me that maybe somebody wouldn't. So I thought, how do I describe this? So a past life regression is when you meet with a past life regression therapist, you get into a very meditative state, very relaxed, and they guide you through being able to access memories to your past lives. So before we get too messed up with the messenger and the message, I want the message to land, so I hope you'll stay tuned in, because I feel like such a theme about AmFest has been being able to hear people speak and having different ideas and making that okay. So I know that that's kind of it's a spiritual direction, but the vision that I had was so incredible. So they guide you through, and they do it really like very objectively, like what are you wearing, where are you, what do you see? So this guided me into the vision. And I was somewhere in like Nevada or Utah, and I was a Native American. And I had a stick, and I left my tribe. And I journeyed south, and I was on my way to what would have been like original LA when it was first sort of civilized. And so I made my way down there, and once I got there and I got to the beach, I saw that it was like a big farmer's market set up. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And so I looked down, and I had a medicine pouch. And I was like, I'm going to set up a table and tent, and I'm going to sell my medicine. Well, nobody was all that interested in my medicine, but I thought, that's fine. And I sort of like started creating this community where we would have like these gatherings in the evening. And it wasn't a male-female thing, but it turned out that it was really mostly women that showed up. And so in this vision, like 10 years had gone by, and I was doing this regularly. And I was told that I would have to stop doing what I'm doing or I would be killed, or I could leave. And so in this vision, I stopped doing what I was doing. And then the vision went sort of empty for like 30 or 40 years. And so this sort of landed me maybe in my 70s or something, which probably for back then is pretty old. But nothing was in my memory from that time period, and the message was that I could be killed for doing what I loved and what was meant for me and my passion, or I could die inside anyway. And that the mission is to stand true to what it is that you want to do and the mission at hand, and let it play out. And I think you guys have probably all heard what Charlie Kirk wanted to be remembered for. He wanted to be remembered for having courage in his faith, which is brave. Because baked into courage is fear. Somebody recently told me that, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Because if you didn't have fear, why in the world would you have to be courageous? Why would you have to be brave? You're just doing things. So I thought, wow, that's so true. To be courageous, there has to be fear in there. And I'm not talking about the kind of fear that is pointless or silly. I'm talking about the kind of fear that's calling you in to something bigger, something that takes you to the next level, something that takes you further than where you're at. But the unknown is usually what we're scared of, right? We're just scared of what we don't know. And so you can't let fear win in that moment. And the thing is that right at that intersection point between fear and excitement, because essentially that's the fear I'm talking about, the kind that's calling you in. You're excited to do it, you want to do it, but you're not sure. It's that right at that intersection that you feel alive. And that was something that I did not know about myself. People used to say I was so brave for driving race cars, and I guess it was. I drive on the regular road, and it seems like nothing, so... and I drive crazy. Cops are around, I'm sure. And so right at that fear of intersection and excitement, you feel alive. And I realized that was what I did my whole career. I had no idea until I was done. I was like, wow, what's the point? I need to do something. So I started doing silly things like jumping out of airplanes and doing massive public speaking and going speaking at Trump rallies, all of that stuff. Like, I realized that's when I feel alive. And so I was scared every time I got in a race car. Like, I mean, every time, whether I was testing or whether I was racing, there was pressure on the line. And mind you, I was going 200, so that is scary, I guess. But I didn't realize that, man, that was what I did it for. And so, I mean, standing on stage today is frightening. I get nervous all the time to do stuff like this, but I just don't want to let fear win. I'm going to feel really good when I step off stage, just so you know. I'll be like really relaxed and really excited. Before I came out here, I was like, guys, this is where I focus. I'm going to be really quiet for right now. The Bible says over and over and over again, fear not. And in fact, I thought I had heard it said it 365 times, and maybe other people have heard that. But given the fact that I was going to stand on stage, I had to fact check. And I'm not sure that's entirely true. I do like the sentiment of it, so let's go with it. But it says over and over again, fear not. It says fear not because fear exists. This is a human experience. We're going to have fear. It wouldn't say it unless it needed to be known. Fear not. But it's not that you're not supposed to have fear. What the Bible's trying to tell you is that give your fear to me. God says, give me your fear. Pray for the confidence, the strength to go through life and get through whatever you need to get through, and let me carry that fear for you. You don't have to do this alone. So the question is, the next time you're faced with a situation that, man, It's scary. Like, you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know where it's going to lead to. It might be a job. It might be a relationship. It might be moving. It might be speaking out. Saying something in front of people for the first time that you've never said. Sharing something about yourself that you've never shared. Are you going to let fear win and say no? Are you going to put it off for another day? Right? No big deal. Another month, another year, we've all done it, or another lifetime. Or are you going to pray for the strength to get through whatever comes at you and say yes right now? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. God bless. Merry Christmas.